Hi, Father Jack back at you. You know, there's been a lot of, I think, unnecessary anger, resentment, conflict, pain over one individual in particular, and the kind of people like him, namely Stanton Glantz and the ANTZ, the anti-nicotine tobacco zealots. Now, hi, this is Father Jack back at you. I wanted to speak in defense of the ANTZ, the anti-nicotine tobacco zealots, and mainly their poster boy, Professor Stanton Glantz from the University of California at San Francisco. I know a lot of people are mad at him and them, and yeah, that's because he seems to just make stuff up. He seems to want to get people to believe that vaping causes heart attacks and that it's really harmful and that most vapors really are still smokers, and so things aren't really being done for their sake. And, people in my profession, the addiction counseling profession, they're kind of upset at him because uh, he's acting out of what they call the scope of practice. He's an engineer, and what does he know about addiction? And yet he keeps trying to talk about addiction. And he certainly doesn't know anything about harm reduction. And so he's violating his scope of practice. And then, there's ethics professors like me that are concerned that he kind of lets people believe he's a medical doctor when his doctorate's in mechanical engineering. If I did that in my profession, I'd lose my certification overnight. I guess it's okay to do that in his profession. So, yeah, there's a lot to be upset about. And what I'd like to say is, we don't need this anger and rancor and just unnecessary grief here. I think a lot of it's caused because we consider Stanton Glantz to be an academic or a scientist. And yeah, if you want to put him in that category, all that stuff I said about him is true. But I have a solution. We can solve this easily. All we have to do is put Stanton Glantz and his followers in a category where you don't need real science, you don't need real evidence, you don't need proof of anything, you don't need logic. All you need is just dogma and belief and passion. And that category, so simple, is religion. Now, religion's kind of a touchy subject, but it's a very important one because I think that's where he belongs. Now, I happen to belong to a religion where there is no conflict between science and religion. But a lot of religious people uh, have that conflict and they live with it. And I say, God bless them. They have every right to do it. Our country was founded on the idea of religious liberty, and people have the right to believe whatever they want, no matter how silly it may appear to be others. So, because of that, I would like to ordain Stanton Glantz as Reverend Stanton Glantz, because he obviously follows the God of perfect health. And if perfect health is your God, well, then it's okay to be upset at anything that threatens that or even looks like it. So, smoking, we all agree, bad thing. But, if you're a true believer and so upset about smoking that you wind up despising smokers, well, then that's if that's your religious belief, you have every right to believe that. So I say Reverend Stanton Glantz is the head of the Church of the Ants, and it's split off churches: the Church of Big Pharma, the Church of Big Tobacco, and most certainly the Church of Public Health. And if we simply consider these people as religious fanatics, well, then a lot of this anger and all that goes away, because we're always very tolerant of religious kind of beliefs. So Reverend Glantz and his church, if they want to believe this nonsense that he keeps spouting, I say more power to him. All I ask is that he be honest and call it a religious belief instead of a pseudo-scientific one. Because if he does call it for what it is, a religious belief, then his passion is okay. His fanaticism is okay. He has every right to believe that and preach that all he wants, start his own church all he wants, blog essays, preach the gospel of perfect health all he wants. But like with other religions, if it oversteps its bounds and intrudes into the public arena, then it becomes a problem. Like the Westboro Baptist Church and Reverend Fred Phelps and his groups, they can believe anything they want. And I would fight to the death to protect their right to believe it. But when they, start interfering with funerals of soldiers killed or things like that, and cause direct pain by their actions to families, well, I'd have a problem with that. Just like I'd have a problem with Reverend Glantz trying to interfere and force people like me to follow his beliefs and take away my right to vape, my right to have nicotine levels that I want, my right to help as an addictions counselor, my right to help smokers quit smoking. And when he wants to step in and take that away, yeah, I'm going to fight Reverend Fred Phelps in the Westboro Baptist Church. Fred's gone, I guess, but his church. And I'm going to fight people like Reverend Stanton Glantz who want to impose their dogma on me and people that are trying to quit smoking. So no Sharia law here, right? You can't impose your thoughts and desires on the rest of it, all right? If you want to demonize, if you have to have a devil in your church and you want to say it's the tobacco companies, even though you're actually helping them, Reverend Glantz, by the way, but you want to call the tobacco companies a great Satan, that's fine. Believe anything you want. Just don't shove it down the throats of other people, and certainly other experts who truly understand addiction and vaping and how to help people recover from the evils of smoking. So I feel better already, because now I just consider Stanton Glantz just another member of the clergy. And I can smile and let him believe all he wants, just so long as he stays away from imposing his dogma on the rest of us. So I invite everyone to call him not Stan the Mechanic or other pejorative names. We don't need to do that. Just call him for what he is, Reverend Stanton Glantz.